We are in Ibiza today with Red Bull, and we're out here filming for my friend Kat and kind of doing a lot of behind the scenes work of the entire event. Holy shit, look at this plane. Look at this plane. It's kind of sick. Anyway, we are in Ibiza with Red Bull. I wanted to take you guys along for a little behind the scenes of what a international travel gig looks like for me, and kind of just vlog the experience and what we will be doing. The agenda for the week is the Red Bull Creator Royale, and basically there's creators from all over the world here right now, here to compete in different obstacles and athletic events to see who comes out on top, I guess. And my job is going to be documenting kind of BTS for two of the creators. So I'm looking forward to it. Obviously a sick location, and I'm excited to see what the day holds.
Yo, welcome back. We're so back. And today we're talking about travel gigs. I'm in a new spot. I'm behind on videos, but that's why we're here. So let's get into it. So I wanted to bring you guys along on a gig that doesn't come along very often, that's a little more on the unique side of things, and kind of give you my thoughts, my tips on doing any sort of travel gig, not just something this specific or niche. When it comes to traveling for gigs, it can be stressful, but I am someone who loves to travel. I love to use work as an excuse to go anywhere, especially if it's paid for. And to get the opportunity to travel to Ibiza, Spain, and to be flown out there with a brand like Red Bull is something really unique. So I thought I'd combine that unique opportunity with, just my general tips and thoughts and feelings about travel shoots. Now, traveling for any sort of gig, whether it's small or large, the idea of having to pack up a bunch of gear, whether you are a one-man band or part of a bigger team, packing up gear, getting in the car, getting in a plane, getting in a boat, whatever it may be, is stressful and can be very stressful, and I've definitely felt that stress. So I wanted to bring you guys along for the ride a little bit here and kind of explain how hectic of a gig this was and what it's like having to go across the world with a ton of gear. So let's talk about the event. The event was a 2-day event in Ibiza, Spain, hosted by Red Bull, where they had content creators from literally all over the world, Chile, Brazil, the US obviously, Kenya even, come out to compete for, I'm not sure if there was a prize, but to compete in a sort of like American Ninja Warrior style obstacle course up this old castle in the middle of Ibiza. My job in this whole big project was to follow two creators, and I was able to follow Romeo Centeno around and Kat Hofling, who I'm very privileged to call friends, and they are very, very talented content creators. Romeo and Kat were the athletes competing in the Ibiza Royale, and my job was pretty much to just cover them and meet all of their content needs, film needs, photo needs, whatever it may be, doing a lot for two people. Now, funny enough, I was covering Kat and Romeo through the entire day. I got them warming up, I got them getting their bibs, and while we're getting their bibs, I had the pleasure of being invited to compete in day one of the event.
Kat and I currently grubbing, getting ready for the day. It is 8:30 in the morning. Got a workout in, got a coffee, and then after this we're gonna go back to the room, prep gear, and get on with the day. Kat, how you feeling?
I feel good. I feel a little bit nervous for time trials, but get a good energy in. Have my Red Bull, so what happens happens.
You heard it here first. Let's get it. So now, I was supposed to just be the camera guy, but I am stepping in and doing an event now, so we'll see how that goes. This whole BTS thing is taking a weird turn, so let's get it.
So Vinny's competition now is what I'm getting at. He went from friend to foe, but it's all good. Romeo, you heard this.
What
Vinny's competing.
He's subbing for me.
Hey, put that fucking camera down. We don't associate with the ops, bro. We do not associate with the opposition. Steal the fucking camera. We out here now. That's the opposition.
Insane turn of events. From videographer, he went from friend to foe.
Weird change of events. I'm now a Red Bull athlete, so we'll see how this goes. Check the event. Here we go.
All right, it's Vinny's time. I just went Romeo. Look at Vinny. Cameraman turned competitor, bro. Whoa. Cameraman turned competitor.
You're recording him?
Yeah.
Let's go, Vinny!
He's gonna be so good at this. How you feeling?
Great.
Oh yeah. Nice job, brother. Nice job.
Oh, we killed it.
Nice job. Here you go.
Thanks, camera woman.
So slippery.
All right, so the day has not gone completely as I thought it would. Oh shit, is this in the way right here? Whatever. Random turn of events. So obviously I've been out here videoing and filming everybody do their things. Oh, you can actually see the event. It's right. It's down here. Oh wait, right here. Event's right down there. But ended up actually getting into the event because they had a creator not show up, and you know, someone has to step up. But it's been really fun. Work's been going good. It's very different to the normal on-set kind of style I'm used to, where everything's a little more planned. Here it's just, you know, you're following different creators around and helping them capture their vision, and you know, it's not as cinematic as the stuff I normally do, but it's a lot of fun. You know, it's very different. It's challenging in a lot of ways, you know, kind of just being aware of what they're doing, trying to capture raw moments of them having fun, smiling. There's hundreds of creators here, and Red Bull has really put on a really, really cool event. We're about halfway through the day. Now is more of a relaxation period, and it's been awesome.
So because one of the creators wasn't able to make it on day one, I just filled in and honestly had a kick-ass time. Now this is something that's definitely completely out of the ordinary for a shoot like this. Normally you're not involved or in front of the camera, but it was really fun to get to do something athletic, especially being a former athlete, and it was just cool to bond with all the creators and, you know, kind of get a small taste of what the bigger event would be. But being in this area in a singular Hard Rock hotel, shout out Red Bull for that, with hundreds of creators was definitely really inspiring and really cool to see how different people work and how different people create things. But after the trials were done, day one was pretty much over. I had to do a couple other, you know, media things for Kat, a lot of editing, and we moved on to day two.
Feel that? That's first place, baby.
So day two was the main race day. This is where everyone was fully competing. The day one was just the trials, kind of gave them their placements, where they'd be on day two. And day two would be the race up the castle. Day two would be where it's really important to get as much as you can before and after the race. Thankfully, Red Bull had footage of them actually racing up the castle covered. So I didn't have to worry about that. I just had to get the before and the after. Now, this brings me to something I've been thinking about a lot recently, and something that's probably pretty obvious to most people. And it's that understand your client, understand who you're shooting for, and remember that you're hired for them. You're hired to do what they need you to do. Not what you want to do, not what you're used to doing in most cases, but you're there for them and to help them achieve a larger goal. For me personally, I'm used to being in the world of very cinematic shoots, you know, rigging out the camera, having a lighting team, having lighting in general. Each shot is storyboarded out, scripted out, and you're shooting in log, you're using big and expensive equipment, you're taking a lot of time in post-production. All of that is really where I thrive. But on this shoot with Romeo and Kat specifically, it was tough for me to get into the mindset of, hey, we're here to just get quick, fast content and get it out as quick as possible. Because that's what they do, you know? They're not filmmakers, they're content creators. And I was hired to help them create that content. So I needed to switch into a mindset that, hey, it doesn't have to be perfect, it doesn't have to be all shot perfectly, they don't have to be doing the most cinematic thing ever, but help them get to the end goal, which is creating something quick. And I would definitely be lying if I said I looked down on short form content creation and like quick content in the past. I definitely don't think it's something that I'm very good at, and that's probably why I felt this way. But after working with Romeo and Kat, they're so talented at what they do. They're so knowledgeable about social media platforms, and they aren't just ripping content to rip content. They are very purposeful about what they do, and they put a lot of effort into it. And seeing that kind of changed my whole thought process with everything, and it made me feel like I had the wrong idea, and I needed to be there to help them, my friends, achieve the goals they want to achieve.
They are about to start the race, and I'm gonna run up the hill after them with this camera bag and all this camera gear. So shout out to the construction for being loud as hell, sick.
So on this trip, we did a lot of things I'm maybe not super comfortable doing. For instance, shooting vertically. You know, there's nothing better than holding the camera like this. But I wasn't always gonna be able to get a cinematic shot. I wasn't always gonna be able to get them to do something that I would consider filmmaking worthy, but it was about capturing what I needed to capture for the client. And something I'm definitely gonna do going forward is take more consideration into what I bring on these jobs. You know, I definitely brought some gear with me that I didn't need to, which we can get into later, but there was definitely a learning curve, and I've definitely learned a lot from this shoot, and I hope to bring that forward with me into more shoots that might be similar to this, that aren't shoots that I would normally do. And I think a good comparison to this mindset is how I feel about getting projects out. I feel like I take a lot of time with them because I want them to be perfect. I'm insecure about it. I don't want to just get something out to get something out there, but I think there is an art to just getting something out when it's not the perfect thing that you want it to be, when it's not exactly where you want it to be. But you can only learn by doing, and I think watching Kat and Romeo do their thing has definitely taught me a lot. And that brought us to the end of the event, and I had a great time with Romeo and Kat. We stayed in Ibiza for another day. We went to London for a little bit. I got a lot of content for my own personal channels, which was really cool. And overall, Red Bull throws a kick-ass event, I can't lie. Which leads me to the main point of this video. I want to talk about travel gigs and how you should prepare for them, what you should bring, what you shouldn't bring, and just some things I've learned. Maybe you don't need to hear this, maybe you do, but I think it would be interesting, and it's something that definitely would have helped me in the past. Tip number 1, have the proper luggage for your gear. So for my travel shoots, I use a 10-foot camera bag and I use a Nana hard case for any of my other stuff. These two things are some of the best investments I've made, believe it or not. Buying a $300 backpack definitely hurts a lot. It fits so much gear in it, it's comfortable, which is huge, and the Nana case is really dope too because I can pull out the handle and roll it like a suitcase. It does so much, and these two things just give me a lot of peace of mind. I know that my gear is safely stored away when I pack it in these things, especially the hard case, and if I put it in my backpack, it's on my person, I can keep an eye on it, and it's definitely the best way to carry gear around with you. Just invest in cases or a backpack, whatever it may be, so you can properly and safely store all this expensive ass equipment that you probably have with you. It's all about safety, security, and comfortability. Just make sure you hit those 3 and your life will be so much easier. Moving on, tip number 2 is pack what you need, not what you want. I am a serial overpacker, and on this last trip, I definitely overpacked so much. Make sure you know what you should and should not bring on a travel gig. I brought, I think, 4 cameras with me on this trip. Didn't need that many cameras. It just added to my bag and it got so heavy in the end. Looking back on it, I definitely would have packed a lot differently. And a big part of this is knowing what the client wants. Do they need audio? Do they need stills or do they need video? Does it need to be vertical or does it need to be horizontal? All these questions you should be asking beforehand, which brings me to my next point. Clarify what the client needs before the shoot. Now, this is very obvious, but also very important, I think can be done wrong. 8-9 times out of 10, the client will tell you exactly what they want and what they need. But there are so many times, and I bet you know watching this, where a client's like, actually, can we switch it up and do this? Or what if we did this? What if we shot an interview today? But if you don't have the proper equipment, you can't do that. And I think a good way to go about dealing with this is before the shoot, hear the client out, hear what they want, and ask questions. Oh, hey, we're shooting a bunch of B-roll today. Okay, is there any chance we're gonna do an interview? And if they say no, you don't have to bring all that equipment. But if they say, you know what, actually, yeah, we need this or that, that's something you should clear up before the shoot. Obviously, rate might be affected, but just make sure you know what the client wants. Tip number 4, make sure the travel gig is worth it, or the travel itself is worth it. Now, it's really cool to go to Ibiza for a shoot. Can't lie, it was great. But make sure it's worth your time as a filmmaker, videographer, shooter, whatever you are. Make sure it's worth it. Is the client covering travel and stay? Is the client covering your food costs? Is the client paying you enough to take your time to have to travel across the country, across the street, across the world, whatever it is, to do the job? I've had plenty of jobs where it's really cool to go travel this far or to this country to do that. But in the end, I actually lost money from the job because I had to cover this or cover that, or maybe the client didn't cover everything I needed them to cover. Secondly, I know this is a little cliche, but make sure the work's fulfilling. Make sure you're gonna enjoy it. Are you gonna be put up in a place that you're gonna enjoy staying at? Are you going with people you're gonna enjoy working for or enjoy shooting? Make sure it's worth it in the end, because sure, sometimes you gotta do things for money, but if you're going to have to spend a week with people that you don't wanna be around, that makes it feel like it's all too much, then the job's not worth it. Tip number 5 is something I rate fairly high, but buy AirTags or some sort of way to track your luggage, your camera, whatever it may be. Now, I put an AirTag in both my camera bag and my suitcase, and thank God I did, because it just gives me this peace of mind that I didn't have before. And on this trip specifically, we missed our connecting flight heading to Ibiza, so I was super worried about my luggage, but I was able to check where it is. I made sure it was on the flight that I was on, and it made it on time, because thank God, because many people did not get their luggage. And this is especially useful if you're a forgetful person, so don't overlook this small detail. Just fork over the money for AirTags. I know it sucks, but it's worth it. It's not a sexy purchase, but it's peace of mind. Now, my last tip, and again, another fairly obvious one is just communicate effectively, over-communicate. This is something you should probably just follow in daily life, but communication is so key, especially with clients who aren't good at it. And on top of that, throw in traveling in the mix, and it's just bound to be stressful no matter what happens, whether it goes good or bad. Make sure all the details are covered. Make sure if you have any questions, you ask them. I've had jobs where we finish a long 14-hour day of shooting, get to the end of the day just to find out because of a miscommunication, hotels aren't booked, and now we're stranded looking for a hotel. That sucks. So just make sure you communicate everything. Make sure all the details are filled out. Have an itinerary, whatever it is, communicate, ask questions if you're not sure about something, and if something seems off, say something. Now, I hope these tips helped you at all. These are just all things I probably would have wanted to hear. I know they're all obvious, as all these videos are, with tips and tricks and whatever it may be, but take them to heart, like really try and practice these things, and yeah, it'll just make your life easier. I appreciate you watching. It's been real. Happy to be back. Hopefully got more videos on the way. I'll see you soon. Peace. By the way, if you recognize where I'm shooting this, which I don't think you can, I'm pretty tight on this focal length, but you're pretty dope.